What up, bipolar dude here? What's up, bipolar dude here? Today I'm gonna be talking about controlling your ego, and this is important for everybody, but I do find that it's really helpful with bipolar people, especially because I have this theory, and this is gonna be controversial, and there's no science backing this, but I just feel like bipolar people have some of the biggest egos of all time. Because it's like either I'm Jesus or, I'm the fucking best singer ever in the whole world. I'm like Mariah Carey. Or I'm fucking, you know, the next, like Picasso or some fucking thing. And if it's not that, then it's, oh, my life is the worst piece of shit ever and I'm terrible and I can't even believe how disgusting I am and you want to kill yourself. So, to live on those two extremes of life, I feel like it's got to be about, you know, everything is me. Very solipsistic. I feel like I have a big issue with my ego. Um, or at least I did, and I mean, I still do, but I'm working on it with this kind of mindset. That's why I have these this insight and these tips and tricks because I have dealt with ego problems myself, and I think that controlling your ego is helpful for everybody, but especially bipolar people because it puts you more grounded, which is where you want to be as a bipolar person. You want to be in the middle. Okay? So, and a lot of other people want to be in the middle too. It's not good for anybody to be delusional. So, without further ado, these are my tips and tricks for dealing with ego. First off, I would like you to imagine the person in your life most recently, or the first person you can think of, where you just think they're a loser. You just think, I don't know, that they're nerdy, that they talk too much, that they're mean, that they are self centered, whatever it is that you don't like about this person. I want you to imagine them for a second. I want you to put this person in your mind's eye, okay? Maybe you barely even thought about them, but like for a brief second, you were just like, I don't fucking like that guy. That guy sucks. Or girl, whatever. So you got it in your head? You're imagining that person, what it feels like to feel that way about that person? Now imagine for a second that people, a good amount of people, feel that way about you. Just imagine that a lot of people see you and the things you do and think about you in the same way. Now, don't like hate yourself over this. Don't, this isn't to like fucking hate yourself, but just really, really think of what that means for like your reality. That a lot of people have some negative image of you. Think about them talking behind your back a little bit. Think about them, you know, being fake towards you. Now, if this were true, which I'm thinking that there's a good chance it is, not a lot of people, not everybody, but at least a good amount. If this were true, then what would it mean about how you feel about yourself? Because think about this. You might say off first hand, oh, that's other people. That doesn't matter. The only opinion that matters is my own opinion. Well, if that's your first go to defense, then I would say that you're letting your ego take over a little bit too much. You're letting your ego decide what's real and what's not real. Because if everybody is telling you one thing and you are thinking it's different, it's probably not them and it's probably you. Okay, so just have that in your mind now. That a lot of people say some shitty things about you and even feel like you're a shitty person, even feel like you're annoying or whatever. They have bad image of you. And that image might be totally valid. That image might be completely valid. And you're being egotistical to not take those perceptions of you into account. In fact, for you to say, fuck the haters, fuck all this, blah, 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 you're being childish. Or you're being unreasonable. Now you might think, okay, well, what is this? What does this mean then? I should just hate myself? No. But it is an exercise in seeing how people might view you in a different light than maybe how you view yourself. So, we'll start off there. Just picturing yourself in the shoes of someone you might think is annoying, or you might dislike, or you think there's something wrong with. So now after you've thought about that, you come back, and you can feel two ways. Now, the first way that you should feel is you should feel a little bit more empathy towards the person that you feel like sucks. Because the truth of the matter is that it's very easy to find something that sucks about somebody. It's very, very easy to find something that you don't like about somebody else. So, that's another way this is helpful. So you have more empathy for people that you immediately dismiss because you think about how you're just as vulnerable to rejection as they are. But also, now because you have empathy for that person, you can see how these negative feelings that people have towards you are rather insignificant. Not because they're not necessarily true, but because everybody has flaws and everybody has mishaps. In other words, you're not special for having people dislike you. So that's kind of how you deal with negativity in your life and how it's really not that big of a deal and how you shouldn't let it get you down that much. And another thing that's going to help with this negative thing is the positive thing that I'm about to be talking about. Because unfortunately, people that think very, very highly of themselves are really prone to thinking very negatively of themselves. That's why you want to stay in the middle. You want to stay grounded. So looking at it at the flip side of the positive side, as easy as it is for somebody to say something negative about you, it actually is just as easy for somebody to say something positive about you. You know how many people have been called beautiful? You know how many people have been called smart? You know how many people have been told that they have a lot of potential? You know how many people have been told that they're talented? And everybody, mostly everybody, has been told that they can do whatever they want with their life. Now, think about this. You getting told that you're smart, that you're beautiful, that you can do anything that you want with your life, that you have so much potential, that is going to fuel your ego. You're going to think you're special. You're going to think you're unique. Everybody's important. Everybody's beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And this isn't to say that you don't contribute in a unique way, because now let's imagine the person that you think is now, and let's take it to like the extreme. Because now let's think of the person that you admire most, that you think is the most spectacular person. And for a lot of people, it's some, you know, super uh, successful, accomplished person. Like some people, but it might be like Elon Musk or something. But not everybody. Not everybody thinks that Elon Musk is the most important person that they respect in their life, or some celebrity. Some people might say like their dad or their mom or their friend or their grandmother or something else. Think about that most important person to you that you respect very highly. Now imagine that somebody feels that way about you. See how that feels for a second. Now, on one hand, that feels really good, but on another hand, kind of feels like pressure, right? Kind of feels like you're taking on something that you didn't sign up for. That's kind of how it feels, and it should feel, to receive unearned compliments or compliments in general, because it's, I mean, you can receive the compliment and you can say thanks. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but you know receive the compliment and say thanks and be polite. But receiving too many compliments shouldn't feel as good as you should, as it intuitively feels like it should. Because you should think about each compliment and each ego boost as more that you have to live up to. Someone says, "Wow, you're a really talented singer." And like, I don't know, you've been told your whole life that you're a talented singer. Then you grow up and you don't actually make it as a singer. Maybe you even went to American Idol and they rejected you. You're fucking done. Emotionally. You're fucking screwed. You're gonna like fucking hit a collapse. And then all of the negative things in your life that you've always heard, maybe that one person was like, "You fucking suck." Maybe a couple of people said some things. Then you're gonna rewire your whole entire brain to remember everything different in a negative way. This is because of your ego. Because people put all of this potential in you and you bought it. You bought what they were selling. I mean, sometimes people give compliments that they don't even mean. I mean, like, I try not to do that, and I'm sure people try not to be liars and fake and two-faced, but some people are like, it's just lie to make you feel good. They do. And you might take that and you might go ahead and be like, "Oh, I'm super awesome." Now, here's the flip side to that. That doesn't mean that whenever somebody gives you a compliment, you just brush it off and you don't like it and blah, 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 blah. What it means, though, is that you being talented or special or smart to somebody doesn't mean that you're the smartest, most talented person to everybody. You see, if someone's not particularly talented in something you are, or not smart in something that you are, and they give you a compliment, when you go up against, when you're competing with people on your same level, it's gonna feel like a lie. That doesn't mean it's necessarily a lie, but what it means is that you have room to improve. And nobody likes to have to improve, especially when they've been told they're smart, talented, gifted, all these things all their life. So this definitely is like a childhood problem, and like this is a problem that starts from childhood, and definitely hits you really, really hard in the adult world. Because when you're growing up, you're competing with a very small group of people that are all your age. If they're all your age and you're one of the smartest ones of them, even in the top 20 kids, and you're one of the smartest kids in those 200, 250, 300 kids, that's a pretty big deal to you. You think you're going to be probably very successful. You're probably going to be very amazing. Especially if you felt like you weren't trying that hard. You take that same person and you say, hey, now compete with literally every other person in the whole entire world but you. Do you see the difference? Do you see how that's completely different than anything that you've experienced? Compete with literally everybody now. You had 200, 250, 300 kids. Everybody else on the planet. Of course, if it takes you a bit to figure it out, it's gonna feel like you're a giant loser because you've had such low stakes your entire life. The thing that you really need to get from this is that you're not, well, what I said before, you're not special. You're not special. But more so, what you need to get from this, you're not as big as a failure as you are, and you're not as successful as you are when you think you're successful. Usually. 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 Especially for bipolar people, usually. But generally speaking, a lot of people aren't as big of failures as they are, and they're not as successful as they are. And when you actually compare yourself to other people, and not even just other people, but compare yourself to the things you've been told about you in your life, and realize and look at the actual progress that you made or actual things that you've done, you can see. And granted, it takes time to grieve over losses. Like if you're just to like fail at something big and have this ego like crash, then it's gonna take time, and that might make you feel like even more of a loser. Which is exactly why you need this video. And if I'm not explaining it right, or you find somebody else, I hope this is why I'm trying to make this video for people, because it's so important that you have a smaller ego. Because now, when you, whatever your passion is, if you can realize, hey, yeah, people saw potential in me, people said I was a great this, a great that, a great whatever. I was 18. I was 20. I thought I was amazing. Why am I not a superstar? Why am I not super successful? Because what people saw in you was an unfinished product. But you treat it like their compliment was the finished product. You heard, I'm smart. Wow. Life's gonna be, whatever I do, I'm gonna be able to, figure it out instantly. And then when you don't, you feel like you're a fucking idiot because you lived in this fantasy that you were some genius at everything. Nobody's a genius at everything. But you see how they play off of each other. When you take success way too positively, then you're going to take failure way too negatively. Or in a more human sense, acceptance way too positively, you're going to take rejection even more negatively. So, where does this go for you? Basically, what you need to do is start off from the perspective that you need work. If you want to be good at something, you have to always practice at it. You have to keep practicing at it. For you to say, for you to think like whatever I'm supposed to do in this life, or for you to think whatever I'm supposed to do in this life is supposed to come easy to me, that's false. That is completely untrue. Nothing you do is just gonna come easy to you, unless it's your fucking ABCs. So that's what I'm saying is, and the point is that it's not horrible. That when you realize that you're not as great or as bad as you thought you were, or you think you are, you can look at your situation on a grounded level and say, where am I at? That's the reality. Where am I at? That's the reality. Now, really feel that. Now that you have felt that, you can say, oh, okay, this is square one. What do I want to do with it? And if it's something that somebody has said, like, hey, you're good at, or you like to do, or whatever it is, or it's not, then you can say, oh, well, I'm going to try it. I'm going to be bad at it. I'm going to get better at it. Maybe I can make some money off of it. Or a better way to look at it is maybe I'll be valuable in this skill at some point. But you gotta take away first this childish ego that you're somehow gifted some special ability or special purpose that you're not going to have to work for. You need to get rid of that. Okay, so what you can take from this is insults are just as easy to give out as compliments, and insults are just as easy to get as compliments. So you shouldn't run with them to any extreme. You should not take them as wholehearted truths, but don't, ignore them either. Make it more like statistical, you know what I mean? So, like, kind of like mathematically, kind of do like a range like that. Because what your ego is going to want to do is when you're feeling good, it's going to want to remember every good thing that's ever been said to you. And when you're feeling low, it's going to want to remember everything that is bad that has ever been sent to you. Have you ever, had a memory in your mind, and it's always been a good memory, or it's always been one way, and then all of a sudden you think back to that memory, and you completely replay, you completely change the whole feeling of the memory, and everything, and you're like, wait, I feel like I had this memory entirely wrong the whole time, and actually, it was more like this is what was going on. That's what happens to your whole perception of everything when you let your negative or your positive ego take over. Okay? So it's really about looking at things as they are. And there's nothing wrong with your position right now. There's absolutely nothing wrong with your position right now. There's nothing wrong with your position in the past, and there's not going to be anything wrong with your position in the future. You don't owe anybody anything in this life. You don't. But you have the opportunity to make your life better or worse depending on the effort you want to put in. That's not to say that, and there's sometimes when you need to take a break. There are some times when you can't just push your way through emotions. There are definitely times like that. But realizing your strengths and weaknesses um, is very important, and it's very important to be self-aware. And I guess that's the whole point of this episode, and I hope it helped a little bit. Um, if anybody found this helpful, this is just a brainstorm of ideas on the subject. Anyway, hope you guys got something out of this. Hopefully there's something that kind of clicked or was close enough that you can try and keep going. I mean, like, look at me. I fucking suck at making these fucking videos. But I feel like I've gotten better, and then sometimes worse when I don't care, and, fucking... But anyway, it doesn't matter. The whole point is... Yeah. Don't let your ego get in the way of doing what you want to do, and don't let it get in the way of... Because that's ultimately what it'll end up doing, is getting in the way of what you want to do. Ego is not good. It's not good. And nobody likes it either. You don't like it. You think you like it, but you don't like it. So, anyway. This is it for this video. And just remember, everybody, whatever you do, don't kill yourself. Bipolar Dude out.